I've always worked the night shift. Over time, I got used to the solitude. There was a small security room where I'd sit and keep an eye on all the hospital cameras. Nights in a hospital are eerily quiet. When everything goes silent, all you're left with is the wait for movement on the monitors. Usually, nothing happens. Sometimes a janitor passes by, sometimes a mouse. But that night, it wasn't a normal night. It was December 12th. The entire city was blanketed in snow. The cold was brutal, and the hospital's heating system wasn't working properly. My shivering hands held a cup of coffee as I stared at the monitors. Something felt off, like the air itself was heavy. A silence that wasn't just quiet, it felt intentional. At exactly 3:17 a.m., one of the monitors flickered. The third floor, the old psych ward. It had been shut down for years. The screen glitched like the signal had weakened. Then it cleared. And I saw him. A man, bald, tall, barefoot, wearing a hospital gown. He just stood there, completely still, frozen like a statue. I blinked hard, leaning closer. My heart began to race. I immediately grabbed the walkie-talkie and called the other guard, Henry, who was doing rounds in the back area of the hospital. "Henry, are you anywhere near the third floor?" "No, James, I'm still on the ground floor." "Why?" "There's someone on the monitor. Outside the psych ward. Isn't that place supposed to be locked off?" "Yeah, no one ever goes there. I'll go check it out." I looked back at the screen. The man was still there, but now his head had slightly tilted to the side, as if he was staring directly into the camera, or at me. Something crawled under my skin. I felt like I was the one being watched, as if there was more than just a monitor between us, some invisible thread connecting us. Then, he smiled, just a faint, slow smile, and he raised his hand and waved. My coffee slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. I stumbled backward, heart pounding in my ears. I quickly rewound the footage. I had to see when he appeared. But nothing. The recording for the past 30 minutes was crystal clear. An empty hallway, no sign of anyone. It was like he was never there. Henry eventually radioed back. "James, there's no one here. The doors are locked. Nothing's been touched. You probably imagined it." I didn't respond, but I knew. What I saw wasn't a hallucination. Everything returned to normal after that night, at least for everyone else, but not for me. That moment never left me. For the next few nights, I stared at the monitors endlessly, waiting, fearing he might come back. On the fifth night, I got up to make coffee. As I turned back to the screens, I saw a reflection at the edge of one monitor, a shoulder, a figure. But when I looked behind me, no one was there. Just me, the wall, and an... I didn't tell Henry. I was starting to doubt myself. But one night when Henry was on duty and I was at home, he called me. His voice was shaking. "James, what you told me, it might be true. I just saw someone on the third floor monitor. When I went up there, nothing. But the door handle was wet, and there were marks, like someone had tried to go inside." We reported it to management. They shrugged it off. "Old buildings do that. Don't panic. Probably a signal glitch." But we knew something was there. I had worked in that hospital for 3 years. Over time, I'd heard rumors about the third floor, especially the psych ward. Some of the older staff whispered about a patient who had died there. A man who never spoke, never responded, just stared blankly at everyone with hollow eyes. One day, out of nowhere, he attacked a nurse. Then, without a word, he threw himself out of the third floor window. Some believe he wasn't insane, that something inhuman had possessed him. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to see for myself. Henry refused to come, but my anxiety had grown beyond reason. I grabbed a small camera, took the walkie-talkie, and slowly climbed the stairs. Every step felt heavier than the last. The hallway doors were all shut, until finally, I reached the psych ward. The door was rusted but not locked. I pushed it open. It creaked like a scream. Darkness, total darkness. My heartbeat roared in my chest. I turned on the camera and flashlight and stepped inside. Empty beds, rusted wheelchairs, stains on the walls, red stains. Suddenly the camera flickered. A shadow darted across the screen. I spun around, nothing there. Then, a whisper. "You shouldn't have come." I turned, and there he was, the same man, bald, in white, just standing inches from me, his eyes, pitch black, and that same eerie smile. I tried to move, but my legs wouldn't obey. He slowly stepped toward me. I screamed and ran, bolting down the stairs. Henry heard me and rushed up. Together we came back down. Later we checked the footage. Nothing. Just empty rooms, and my screams echoing in the silence. I quit the next day. I couldn't stay there anymore. But even now, I often wake up at 3:17 a.m. Sometimes I find my phone camera is turned on, like someone was watching me. And one night, as I looked out the window, there he was, standing at the edge of the road, bald, in white, waving at me, and then gone. My life had fallen into a routine, solitude, hard work, and a silent battle I fought every night with myself. I'm Carla, a single mother, and I took this job to pay for my son's school fees and the rent of our small home. The night shift cleaning job seemed peaceful. The school would fall into complete silence, and only the echo of my footsteps would roam the hallways. But that night, it was unlike any other. That night split my life in two, before and after. It was a winter night, the last days of December. From the outside, the school looked old, and from the inside, wounded. Damp walls, rusty cabinets, and a basement no one ever talked about. That basement always had a lock on it, and the only key was with the day shift supervisor. Around 1:30 a.m., while sweeping outside the science lab, I suddenly heard a loud metallic crash from below, like something heavy tumbling down the stairs. A chill ran through my spine. Maybe it's just a rat, or some old shelf falling over, I tried to convince myself. But then I remembered, the basement is always locked. The key is only with the day staff. Mustering my courage, I walked downstairs. The corridor was drowned in darkness. As I approached the basement, a strange chill settled around me. Not a normal kind of cold, and not just fear. It felt like air from another world, thick and heavy, seeping into my bones. And then, I saw it. The door was slightly open. That wasn't possible. No one could open it. I froze for a few seconds. My hands trembled, my heart pounded, but curiosity overtook fear. I slowly pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room was pitch black. Only a faint red bulb flickered weakly in the far corner. I pulled out my flashlight and turned it on. The room was full of old furniture, broken desks and chairs. A thick layer of dust covered everything, as if no one had entered in years. But the walls were scratched. I moved closer and looked carefully. They weren't just random scratches, they were words. "Get out, he's watching you." And then one sentence, enough to rip the ground from beneath my feet. "Carla." I clasped my hand over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. I had never told anyone my name. Maybe it was in the school records, sure, but here, carved into the wall? Then, the voices began. Whispers. So many voices, fast, overlapping, incomprehensible. It felt like someone was walking around me. I wasn't alone anymore. I tried stepping back, but it was like my feet were glued to the floor. The voices grew louder. The walls felt like they were breathing, like the room itself was alive and about to swallow me whole. I ran toward the door, but it was shut. I pounded on it with all my strength. My hands bled, my breath was ragged, tears streamed from my eyes. And then, the door opened by itself, like someone had pushed it from the outside. I bolted out of that basement and ran upstairs without looking back. From that night on, I never looked at that basement door again. To Morchan, only the same situation that I care for with it. But the story didn't end there. The next night, I decided to tell no one. Who would believe me? They'd think I was insane. But then, something strange happened. While I was sweeping near the gym, I heard the sound of a door creaking open behind me. I turned around, no one. Then, those same whispers again, like someone was speaking directly into my ears. I put on my headphones immediately, but the voices didn't stop. I told the supervisor, "There's something weird in the basement. People shouldn't go down there." He laughed. "Carla, that door's been locked for years. You probably just need more sleep." "Carla, Tomorabi." But then, another cleaning lady joined us. Her name was Maria. She started working near the basement in my place. Just 2 nights later, she quit. Why? I felt like someone was watching me from inside. I saw a shadow following me, and when I turned around, it slipped into the wall, Tomorabi. I shivered. That was it. I wasn't imagining anything. Tailed IB works and late points in papers. The mast have seen like their tune into these. One day, while cleaning the old library, I found a dusty folder, an archive of school reports. One entry caught my eye. In 1974, a janitor named George was found dead in the school basement, ruled as suicide. But several staff members claimed he used to talk to someone who wasn't there. He was often seen speaking to thin air. Paled, Tomorabi. That's when it hit me. Maybe George is still there. Maybe he's alone. And maybe he wants someone to listen. Or worse, maybe he wants someone to replace him. Time. The end, or is it? Tailed. I quit immediately after that, but it still wasn't over. A few weeks later, my son started sleepwalking. He'd get up at night and just stand in front of closed doors, staring. And one night he said, "Mama, the man downstairs was calling me. He said he remembers you." Killed, Tomorabi. I screamed. Our house was miles away from the school, and yet that shadow had followed us. Killed. That same night, I packed everything, moved houses, and left the city. And today, I'm writing all of this down, hoping someone will be warned, hoping someone else won't go into that basement. Because once you enter it, you never come back the same. It was December 2014. Snowfall blanketed the city, and the streets were deserted. I was alone at the call center, working the midnight to 8 a.m. shift. The room was dimly lit, computer screens glowing, and the call log system running. Everything felt routine, until 3:03 a.m. when the phone rang. The screen flashed, Station 4, incoming call. But here's the thing, Station 4 had been shut down 6 months ago. I froze for a few seconds. Then cautiously, I answered, 911, this is Michael. Your call is being recorded. What's your location? There was silence on the other end. Then a faint, trembling voice, barely audible. Please, help us. He's back. I'm sorry, where are you? It says Station 4, but that building was shut down. The voice, it sounded like a woman, was shaking, but there was a strange emptiness in her tone. Then she repeated, we're all trapped. He won't let us go. I quickly pulled up the GPS trace, and sure enough, the call was pinging from Station 4, the old firehouse that had been closed after a major fire. No one was supposed to be there. I alerted the local police and saved the call recording. But before they could arrive, another call came in. This time, the voice was different. Male, deep, and laced with anger. This is our place. You saw us. Now you're part of it too. Then the line went dead. When the police arrived, they found the building completely empty. Burned walls, collapsed floors, and one thing lying on the ground, a rotting tape recorder, repeating the same phrase over and over. You saw us. Now you're part of it too. The next night, I told my supervisor everything. He laughed. Probably just a prank. Old lines sometimes reactivate randomly. But I couldn't shake the feeling. I played the recording again and again, and something struck me. That voice. It sounded familiar. It sounded like Tom, my childhood friend who had been a firefighter at Station 4 and who had died in that fire 6 months ago. I had never told anyone about Tom, but the voice, the tone, I knew it was him. Then, more strange things began happening over the next few days. The computers would turn on by themselves. The speakers would play that same voice, even with no audio files running. And every night at 3:03 a.m., one light would always flicker. I tried convincing myself it was all in my head until the night everything changed. December 24th, Christmas Eve. The city was alive with celebration, but the center was quiet. I was alone again. Suddenly, every screen shut off at once. Only one remained, displaying a single sentence. "You can't go back." Then, in my headset, that voice. Tom's. "Michael, you left me. You promised we'd stay together." Tears filled my eyes. I cried out, "Tom, I couldn't save you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Then, the voice changed. It turned into laughter, cold, hollow, inhuman. I threw off the headset and ran. But as I opened the door, in front of me was the gate to Station 4. I turned back. The dispatch room was gone. Instead, I was inside Station 4, smoke, burned walls, and a shadow, slowly moving toward me. I closed my eyes. My heartbeat nearly stopped. But when I opened them again, I was back, sitting at my desk, gasping, drenched in sweat. Everything seemed normal, except for one thing. On my table sat an old firefighter's helmet, the name written on it, Tom. The end. I quit just a few days later, moved cities, tried to start fresh. But even now, at exactly 3:03 a.m., my phone sometimes rings. No caller ID, no number, just a name. Station 4. I never answer. But sometimes I still hear that whisper through the speaker. "You saw us. Now you're part of it too."